Welcome back. A bittersweet moment here. Part 6 of our series. Why is it bittersweet? Well, it's bittersweet because it's the last educational piece. So it's the last time where you and I are just going to have this time independently to ourselves, just me and you. That's why it's a little bitter. But it's sweet because now we can commence the part that you've been waiting for if you are an avid fan of weightlifting, which is the pure technique review videos. If you are someone who does want to submit some videos for those technique reviews, you can find me over on Instagram at @the_Squatfather. Send me a snatch video. Send me a clean and jerk video if you want me to take a look at it, break it down frame by frame, tell you where you could get better, tell you what you're doing wrong, tell you how to lift more weight. But first things first, we have to finish this series. We have to put a bow on it. And to put a bow on a series that's all about weightlifting and being a competitive lifter, we need to talk about the competition aspect. So how do you coach a meet if you are watching this on the coaching end? Or how do you coach maybe yourself? How do you receive coaching into and on a meet day? So a lot of people are very concerned with how to taper in order to perform at your absolute best. A brief discussion to be had there, whereas the majority of this video will be around meet day. How do I get ready for and absolutely lay waste to the competition and destroy the platform on game day? So as we said, first things first, we have to handle the training that leads up to the actual event, to meet day. So tapering, what does it look like? What kind of changes are we making to training? Well, first we look at the overall goal. What's my goal when I taper into a meet? It's pretty easy. It's to reduce fatigue while considering your training residuals. As you train, you can't excuse yourself from the fitness fatigue paradigm. And that states that as you train, especially as you train hard, fitness mounts, but fatigue also rises with it. So the goal of a taper week is to keep fitness high and reduce fatigue. That way you get the best expression of your fitness and you're not hampered by that fatigue. If you're max out, blackout all the way through the meet, you're going to be very fit, but you're also going to be very fatigued, and that fatigue may take away from your ability to actually exhibit the maximum amount of fitness that you have. So I said the word residuals. It's a word that a lot of people throw around. It's a fun one to consider. And it's one of those things that once you understand it, you can really kind of make the most out of a tapering week without getting too bogged down in the details. Remember, if we understand the principles, the methods, the roads to Rome are many. As soon as you know the destination, the roads to get there are many. So residuals are, in layman's terms, the amount of time an adaptation sticks around if we cease or greatly reduce the total amount of volume, total amount of training towards that specific adaptation. So if we look at 3 main residuals here that may be pertinent for a weightlifter, we look at maximal speed and power, the most important. Strength endurance, how well can you exhibit strength over a long event or a long period of time. You can also see strength endurance defined as within a single bout, and then maximal strength, so absolute strength, squats, pulls, that kind of stuff. So when we look at strength endurance and maximal strength, those are what we call quote unquote stickier adaptations. They hang around for longer, you can train them less frequently, and they won't decay as rapidly. Strength endurance sticks around for 2 weeks, 15 days-ish, depending on the individual, depending on your level of proficiency, your level of adaptation there. Those with greater amounts will start to see a decay faster. As you approach that kind of genetic limit, that asymptote, you do see a steeper decline in that decay. Novices, they tend to have that stuff stick around for a little bit longer just because they're so far removed from their actual genetic limitations. The one we really care about here, though, maximal strength, we'll talk about that. Maximal strength sticks around for around 30 days, not much of a consideration there. The one we care about the most here is speed and power. Speed and power, the least quote-unquote sticky of our adaptations here. You can expect that to stick around for around 5 days. So a 5-day residual there. And that's our shortest of our residuals that are pertinent to a weightlifter. So what does that mean in terms of the tapering week? That means that we have to have some sort of maximum speed / power display around 5 days out from the meet. So how do we put that into practice? Take our last heavy lifts at around 5 to 7 days out. That allows plenty of time for recovery while also being respectful of that maximum speed and power residual. So when we look at the actual training week leading up to meet, have the individual in a single session take their second, third attempts at around 7 days out, and then do a heavy squat or pull at around 5 days out. 2 to 3 days out, we can even hit some lighter 70, 75, maybe even up to 80% depending on the individual, some powers. So you do get some speed work in there as well. That way you show up on meet day, you've touched a very heavy weight recently, and you've also moved very quickly through the specific competition movement patterns recently. You don't show up feeling rusty, you haven't touched a heavy weight in 3 weeks, or you haven't moved your body through the specific movement patterns that you're going to have to on game day in a while. Want to make sure that we minimize the rust that the athlete feels, which is more of a psychological thing. And we also want to be respectful of the physiological stuff that we need to handle. Reduction of fatigue, maintenance of fitness, respect the residuals, all that good stuff. Accessory work. A lot of ways to handle this one right here. My personal favorite is I like to reduce accessory volume by around 50 to 70%, keeping the intensity around 3 to 4 RIR. So 3 to 4 reps short of failure. If you're an RPE lad or ladette, I don't know what it would be. That's like an RPE 6, RPE 7 effort. So with a reduction of volume. So let's say, you're doing some arm work, your banded curls, your banded press downs as part of your accessory volume leading up to the meet, and you're doing 4 sets there. I would say move that down to around 2 sets. Keep those sets 3, 4 reps shy of failure, and you should be good enough. Again, what's the goal here? Maintain fitness, reduce fatigue. That's the goal. So that's roughly what your tapering week should look like. Larger athletes, larger and stronger athletes, just because they're dealing with a greater absolute weight on the bar, absolute body mass that has to recover for a meet day, should start tapering earlier. Your smaller athletes and your weaker athletes can get away with less of a tapering week. Very individualized. What I just gave you are general guidelines. You'll have to adapt them to the individual. Now, how to set yourself up for success on meet day is all about attempt selection. So and I see this all the time is these lifters, they come out with these extremely heavy first attempt and you miss your first snatch and the rest of the day snowballs. Don't do that to yourself. You can take big jumps. You can take attempts in the back room. Start with something that you know you're going to hit. So on your first attempt, you want to feel like it's something that you can roll out of bed. It just so happens that overnight someone installed a weightlifting platform in your living room. They've got your first attempt weight on there. You can just roll out of bed, walk over to the living room, and hit that attempt. Obviously, that's somewhat of an exaggeration, but it should be a weight that you don't even have to think twice about. You hit it in training every day. You can probably double it very comfortably, maybe even triple it. In terms of percentages, if we look at our sheet over here, on the right side, you'll see that I've got attempt 1 at around 88%. So you'll see some people say, let's shoot for 85. So let's shoot a little higher, go for 90, 93. I like 88% with some room to flex up and down based on what the lifter is looking like in that back room. It's another point to be made on your first attempts. You don't want to declare your actual first attempt. Understand that the 20 kilo rule says that you must start within 20 kilos, 10 kilos per lift, of your declared openers. So declare 10 kilos under on both. Maybe your warm-ups go completely terrible, but you need to post a total to qualify your American Open or Nationals or something like that. Give yourself some wiggle room there just in case things go poorly. Remember that you can always go up. You can't go down. The second attempt, there should be 100% confidence that you can hit that lift if execution is there. Now, if there's an execution flaw, you don't finish your pull, maybe you get on your toes early, maybe you don't pull it long. I don't know what I don't know what the execution error might be. You don't lock it out overhead, something like that. If there's an execution error there, you may miss this. But with that said, you should be confident in your ability to come out for a third attempt at that weight or slightly heavier and be able to hit it. So there should still be 100% confidence as you approach the platform that you're going to hit that second attempt. If you go out for a second attempt and you miss it as a fault of strength, like you just do not have the strength and the power to make that attempt, you've made a poor attempt selection there on your second attempt. In terms of percentages, what we're looking at here, somewhere around 93, 95-ish%. You can shoot a little lower if you want, if you need a lower qualification total or you just want to get that second lift on the board. I like 93%. And these are percentages based on a current heavy lift, not your all-time best, not a lift that you hit 6 years ago. These are based on current heavy attempts or current 1RMs. Third attempt, you can really run the gambit here. You know, it can be a heavy single, something like 97, 98%, or you can go for that full YOLO PR. If you don't care about going 6 for 6, or you don't really need to secure that total, or you secured your total on your second attempt and you just want to go out there and go for a platform PR, by all means go for it. Load up 101, 102, 103% of your max and go for it. But if you're trying to have that 6 for 6 day, keep it towards a heavy single. How did your second attempt feel? Felt like shit? Okay, let's go up by maybe 1 or 2 kilos. Second attempt felt amazing. You might have it in you for a PR on that day. It's going to be based on what you actually are feeling on that day and what your goal is for that specific meet. So first, extremely easy, something you can double or triple. Second attempt, something that you're 100% confident that you hit as long as your technique is solid within the lift. Third attempt, you can go for a heavy single if you want to secure that 3 for 3 on the lift, 6 for 6 on the day, or you can ball out and go for that platform PR. Now, warm-ups, timing, and percentages. How to actually navigate yourself based on the scorecard, based on the athletes around you. So if you guys want to see how I warm up my athletes, how I suggest you warm up your athletes, go ahead and pause the video right now. On this slide right here, you'll see the warm-ups, general warm-up, a movement-specific warm-up after that, powers plus a full, and then the actual competition lift. So it's got percentages on there. It's also got some numbers written in there based on an athlete of mine. So the jumps, the timing. Timing is over on the far right, so minutes out. If you assume that each attempt is 1 minute, that'll tell you how many attempts out you actually are. So for our general warm-up, we're around 40 to 45 minutes out. And that's just, biking, stretching, mobilizing, all that good stuff. Our general warm-up, or our more specific generalized warm-up, is that even a thing? A specific general warm-up? I just made it up. Is around 40 minutes out, 40 attempts out. Usually you won't have that many attempts before your athlete goes, so you just have to look at the intermission clock or the time until this session actually starts, base it on that, and then you can start to actually get into attempts out. So power plus snatch, 30 to 35 minutes out, around 30 attempts out if you are that far into the session, and then we want to go into the actual specific warm-up, which you start at around 14 to 15 attempts out, giving your athlete, 2 minutes between attempts. So you're around 28 to 30 minutes out. I recommend going over to the scorecard beforehand, setting a clock, counting out the attempts, and that's what we're going to discuss right now. But by all means, pause the video here if you want to steal these warm-ups and this timing from yours truly. Now we actually get into kind of what it's going to look like when they put the scorecard up. So most meets, I say most because I very frequently went to a meet that wasn't using this system, which really shocked me. But most meets are going to use this exact display on a TV above the officials. So you're going to have this scorecard to look at so you can kind of position yourself accordingly. What we're going to look at is the top session here, the women's session, and we're going to compare how these athletes or their coaches of these athletes may have strategized based on their position in the start order here. So if we look at the bottom, we'll start with the poles here. So we'll look at the bottom and we'll look at the top athlete, and then we'll go towards the middle. The middle is where it gets a little bit more complicated. So this is a women's session. These women run in terms of all sorts of, weight classes. We've got as heavy as 76 down to 59 kilos. So when we look at, the category, F30, that's age, and then the number next to that is going to be their weight class. So it looks like they ran all of these women together in a single session, regardless of their weight class. So looking at someone like Chantel Touchette down at the bottom. So Chantel, because she's obviously the lightest, is coming out with the lightest snatch here. So if we look at the openers there, 69, we work our way, nice. 69, we work our way up to 78, 78, 79, 85. It's likely that these were not the declared weights, but these are where the athletes opened. So Chantel can really easily navigate this session, because if the next person is opening at 78, 9 kilos ahead of her, she's going to get all of her attempts in before that individual even goes. So she needs to time it with the understanding that she is going to take her attempts all following herself. So she goes out for that 69 kilo opener, 2-minute clock, she's following herself. She's then going to take 70 and 71. So this is an interesting session because all of these women are taking 1 kilo jumps from snatch to snatch, which is not the typical. Most women, they're in that 1 to 3 kilo jump per snatch range. But this session is a little different because they're only taking 1 kilo jumps. And we can see the same thing on the clean and jerk, but we'll get there in a second. So Chantel has the understanding that she's going to follow herself. If we work our way all the way up to the top, we look at Gabrielle Schmidt. She's got the same thing happening here. She's going to open her snatch at 85. The closest person to her underneath was opening at 79. So she's going to follow herself. 85, 86, 86. Whereas Lydian Martelli, 79. Even if she takes 3 kilo jumps, she's going to go 79, 82, 85. So maybe Gabrielle comes in there and takes her first attempt before Lydiane is done. But with this 1 kilo jumps from attempt to attempt, Gabrielle is going to be following herself at the top end of the order. So for Chantel and for Gabrielle, this is very easy because all right, I got to warm up, get myself ready, and then I'm going to follow myself. Boom, boom, boom. First, second, third, with no one in between. It gets a little bit more complicated when we go to the middle of the order. So for someone like Caroline Venz, Annick St. Denis, what a name, and Lydian Martelli, look at their openers, 78, 78, 79. So those are all very close to each other. If, let's say, Caroline Venz, her coach said, you know what, warm-ups are really good. We just hit 78 in the back room. We're going to bump up to 80 as our opener. She's going to jump over both Annick and Lydiane and open after them because they've got declared openers of 78, 79. Both of those being, 1 minute each for those attempts. Her coach would have to schedule that kind of 2-minute bump in there. If Caroline says, I'm going to go up to 80, and Lydiane says, then I'm going to go up to 81, you can kind of see here how the order can shift around. So you, as the coach, need to be paying very close attention to the board, understanding that if I, coach of Caroline, increase her opener to 80, that's going to give her 2 more minutes, given that Annick and Lydiane don't miss their opening attempt, which adds 2 more minutes to it because they would be following themselves. You have to factor that in. Let's say you're Caroline's coach, you bump her to 80. Both Annick and Lydiane miss their openers and follow themselves. You've now bumped her from 2 minutes by jumping those to 6 minutes. Caroline goes cold because you didn't factor that into her warm-up, and then she misses her opener. So you really have to be careful with the attempts that you put in to make sure that you're not jumping so many athletes that you're giving your athlete a 5, 7, 9, 15 in a really packed session. 15 sounds crazy, but you might give your athlete an additional 15 minutes of rest in between attempts, which you're like, oh, sweet, 15 minutes, nice and rested for the next attempt. No, not good. because sitting there for 15 minutes, not taking any lifts, going cold, not putting your hands on a heavy barbell is not ideal. So you got to start taking pulls. You got to start doing powers. You got to start doing extra stuff in the back room. That's not ideal for the athlete. So when you put in your changes, be careful. Understand how it's going to move you around on the scorecard to make sure that your athlete can stay warm and perform at their best when they're actually out on the platform. This right here is the most complicated part of coaching a weightlifting meet. I wish I could give you more insight here on this. Be careful with the changes. You can really screw yourself up on this one. I've done it plenty of times. If you are a weightlifting coach and you're getting ready to coach your first weightlifting meet, good luck out there. When you bump your athlete crazy up in the order, bless your heart, you were doing your best. So now actually, how do we put in changes? So I talked about putting in changes, declaring attempts, all that good stuff. When you show up at a meet, it's going to be in English. It's not going to be in French Canadian or whatever this is. But you are going to get a scorecard that looks like this. It's going to have the competition name at the top, the name of your athlete, the barbell club, what their body weight category is, and then their start number, lot number. So start number is also going to be important. If we go back up to here, let's say that Lydianne, Anik, and Caroline all declared 78 as their opener. Whoever has the lowest start number is going to take that first attempt. So let's say Lydianne is 1, Anik is 2, and Caroline is 3. They all declare 78 as their opener. Even though they have the exact same opener, they're going to start based on their start number. So Lydianne is going to go first because she's number 1. Anik would go second because she's 2. Caroline would go third. Another important thing to consider there, always pay attention to your clients, your athletes' start number. So you get a start number, date of birth, entry total. That's your declared total. Remember, 20 kilo rule. We can go up based on that 20 kilo rule. So now we look at the actual attempts. You will get this handed to you beforehand, and you'll see these numbers populated in here. So you'll have an opener listed, and that's based on your declared opener for the athlete. So the athlete weighs in. They say, what do you want to declare as your openers? I want to declare 80 as my snatch, 100 as my clean and jerk. Cool. That's what they're going to write down there. The athlete's going to sign off on that. You, the coach, then have 2 more changes on the first attempt. So let's say your athlete's warming up snatch. They declared 80 as their opener. They hit 80 in the back room. You're like, sweet, that looks good. Let's go. You go over to the scorecard, or you go over to the scores table, and you say, all right, we're going to go up to 83. And they're going to say, athlete number, whatever, up to 83. You're going to sign that off. Cool. You then turn to your athlete and you say, load 83. They load 83. They rest. They hit it. It's easy. You go back over to the scorecard. You say, athlete number, whatever, would like to go to 86. You put 86. You sign off. Cool. That is officially their opener. You're out of changes. So if we look at the box under snatch for that first attempt, we've got a declaration, a start, a first change, and a second change. Cool. Your athlete goes out. They hit 86 on the platform. Woohoo! We hit our opener. The nerves are gone. The automatic increase for any athlete is going to be 1 kilo. So in that box that says auto, the expediter, the judge, whatever you want to call it, the official, whatever you want to call them, is going to put 87. They just made 86. They're going to get automatically increased to 87. You then have the chance, or they're going to yell at you, to go and declare your next weight. So what's the jump? We just hit 86. The automatic increase is 87. We're going to go to 88. Cool. Love it. 88. How does that move us in the order? Oh, no. It doesn't give us any rest. We need to follow ourselves. That's not good. We don't want to do that. So in that first change box, I put 89. So 89 bumps us in the order. It gives the athlete a little bit of rest. I can change to 90 if I want. I can change to 90. I still have another change there. You don't have to use all of your changes, but you can if you need to. Athlete goes out. They hit 89. Woo! Second attempt. We made it. Sweet. Let's YOLO. Let's go crazy on this third attempt. Automatic increase, the box that says auto is going to say 90. We're going to bump that up to, let's say, 92. I'm going to have them take, maybe have them take a lift in the back room. You say, all right, put 92 on, go for it. Oh man, you smashed 92. Let's go ahead and put a change in at 95. Okay, 95 didn't give us enough rest, or it's, not what we want to hit as our third attempt. I can use that second change to say 96 or 97. Once you use that second change, you are out, or you are out of changes. You have to take the weight that's listed there. Same thing is going to happen on the clean and jerk. So you, as a coach, on the first attempt, get 2 changes. You have the start number, what you declared, that one change, and then another. On the second and third attempts, there's going to be an automatic increase. That does not count as a declaration. It's just an automatic increase. You then declare whatever weight that you want. You want to take a 5 kilo jump, you want to take a 10 kilo jump, you want to take a 20 kilo jump, go for it. After that declaration, which some people consider a change, but after that declaration, you can then make 2 more changes. Same thing on the third attempt. So snatch and clean and jerk, they run the same. Make sure you know how to work this scorecard. Make sure you know that you need to tell the official that you have put in a change. Make sure that you are signing this stuff off, and make sure that you are getting in these changes with more than 30 seconds on the athlete's clock. Once the 30-second mark is over on the athlete's clock, they have to take that attempt. They do not take any more changes. Some officials will let you, but it's not, that would not be in the rules. So you have to get that change in before that 30-second mark. Don't botch that one. All right, now some simple coaching stuff backstage. So how to not be a dick at a meet. The bottom line is the important part. The back room is stressful. The sport, game day, competition day is very stressful. So you as a coach, it is your job to do what you can to make everyone's experience, not just your athletes, not just your assistant coaches, not just the people that are members of your barbell club, but everyone's experience as enjoyable as possible. So what to look out for to make everyone's experience as enjoyable as possible? If you see an athlete who does not have a coach, invite them to warm up with you. Help them out. Time their attempts. Make their selections for them. Don't give them any technique cues because you're not their coach, so don't give them any technique cues on game day, but help them time this stuff out, help them get warmed up, make sure that they're taking attempts that are going to, be successful. Make sure they have a good day. Athletes who don't have a platform. You see an athlete wandering around, they got all their stuff in their hands, their backpack, their shoes, their knee sleeves, all that, and they just can't seem to find a platform. It is your job to invite them to share your platform. Maybe they're not as strong as your athlete. Who gives a shit? You make it work regardless. Invite them to share your platform. No one should go without a platform. Look around for coaches or athletes who may be missing bumpers or change plates. You see an athlete who has a 20 kilo plate loaded on one side and they have nothing on the other and they're just looking around. Chances are they're looking for a 20 kilo plate. If you're not using yours, offer it to them. Be nice. Don't be an asshole. Athletes who are close to you on the scorecard. So the Lydianne, Anik, Caroline situation. If you do have athletes that are close to you on the scorecard or to your athlete on the scorecard, make sure that you are letting the other coaches nearby know what you are going to change. I'm going to change to 71. That's going to jump over your lifter. Let them know so that they can plan accordingly and their athlete can have the best day possible. Yes, there's some gamesmanship here of burning clocks and bumping attempts and jumping over people and making them rest too long. That's a part of the sport. If you're at the international level and you're trying to win a gold medal for your country, by all means, burn clocks, bump attempts, screw people over. If you are at the local meet down at the brewery and they put together a platform in 5 minutes beforehand, you got lifters that have never lifted there before. Do not do this. I am a huge dick. I love doing stuff like that. It gives me joy deep down in my soul, but I still avoid it because we want to think about the athlete's best experience with the sport. If you love the sport, make it as enjoyable as possible for as many people as possible. Don't be a dick. That's a good rule. All right, and last comes strategy for your athlete. So when we make a total, you'll hear that a lot. Make a total. Go out there, make a total. At least get a 2 for 6 day so you have a snatch and a clean and jerk on the board. So are we looking for a specific number? Are we taking the hashtag YOLO swag approach? Both are fine. Both are completely fine. I'm not going to fault you for going out there and trying to hit a specific number or just trying to ball out. All I'm saying is get a snatch and a clean and jerk on the board. At least post a total, please. Priority number 1 goes to that point. Make your openers. Don't bomb out. Seriously, don't bomb out. You just spent over $100 to register for the meet. You had to become a USAW member. You had to do all this stuff. Don't bomb out. Don't waste all your money. So you can open really light You can open at fucking 70% of your max. Seriously, it doesn't matter. For a first timer, I might suggest opening that light just to get an attempt on the board. If you do open light, understand that you can take big jumps. You can take as big of jumps as you want. You can go from, my best snatch is 110 kilos. I'm going to open at 70 kilos. Cool. That's fine. Go for it. When you go to the back room, you can then go 75. Oh, that was easy. 80. Oh, that was easy. 85. That was easy. And you can just continue to bump your attempts and take jumps on the scorecard as long as you're not, taking infinite amount of changes, which we just talked about. But you can really take as big of a jump as you want. You can take something significantly higher. I've seen athletes go 50, 60, 70 on a snatch or a clean and jerk, taking 10 kilo jumps, 20% off that opener just because they were nervous for that first attempt. Get your opener on the board. That should be priority number 1. Priority number 2, if you are someone who is looking for a specific total, get that total on your second attempts, or at least get very close. Don't leave yourself this Herculean task on your third attempt where you have to make massive, massive jumps just to secure the total that you want. So try and secure that total on your second attempt so that you have some room to flex on your third attempt. If you can't get there, get close. Get close. If you need like a 200 kilo total, maybe your second attempts, they add up to 195. So that you can just take that 5 kilo jump on that last clean and jerk, or a 3 and 3 on both of those, so that you don't have to go too crazy on that third attempt just to get the total that you need. Third attempts are nerve-wracking. Securing a total is nerve-wracking. Make it as psychologically easy as possible for yourself. Priority number 3 is going to be to get wild on that third attempt if it's in the card. So if you're competing for fun, go crazy. There are very, very few experiences in life that feel as good as hitting a huge PR on the platform on your third attempt. It will be a surreal experience for you. So if it's there, go for it. If you miss it, oh well, it was a PR attempt anyway. No shame in missing that. If you make it, better bar slam, better crack a beer Stone Cold Steve Austin style on the platform. Just kidding, don't do any of that. You'll get your USAW membership revoked. But have some fun, soak it in, enjoy that once in a lifetime experience. However, if you're competing for a total, get it on your third attempt. Make sure that you're choosing attempts that will secure that total. If you're a beginner or it's your first time going out there, just build confidence with a 6 for 6 day. Pick a third attempt that you know that you can make, hit it, destroy it, celebrate with your friends, enjoy the experience. We will see you at your second meet where I'm sure you will be slamming bars and crushing PRs. So that's it. That's game day for you. That's meet day. We took you from start, episode 1, all those weeks ago where we talked about God knows what. And now here we are. You are fully versed, ready to either coach your first meet or compete in your first meet. Remember, every video moving forward from this point will be video analysis from you. So submit your videos to me. I will take a look at them. We'll go frame by frame. I'll make you a better lifter and I'll do it free of charge. We'll see you on those videos. In the meantime, in between times, don't ever forget to stay gifted because we love you. Bye.